Now, anyone who knows anything about off-roading or who's spent any time in the bush will know the popularity of the 70 Series Landcruiser. It's looked pretty much the same since the 1980s, apart from a few facelifts. And it's certainly not the fastest car in the world, but it is practical and reliable. It's been a somewhat ubiquitous part of country Australian life for decades.
I love a sunburned country, a land of sweeping plains, of ragged mountain ranges, of droughts and flooding rains. I love her far horizons, I love her jewel sea, her beauty and her terror. The wide brown land for me. Landcruiser.
How good's Lawsy's voice, by the way, but farmers love them, and the troop carrier model has been something of a cult following in the camping and off-road community. There's a 70 Series owners group on Facebook with 109,000 members. But Toyota announced today that it was killing its V8 turbo diesel engine, which makes up the vast majority of sales because, of course, someone wanting that sort of car is looking for something with grunt and power. They're not after speed or efficiency, they're after a car that can do hard tasks. Toyota's decided to go soft in the name of the environment. You know, there was a time when Toyota bragged about being tough.
Toyota tough, doing it easy, puts you in front. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota tough, economy squeezing, all the right stuff. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota tough, oh, what a feeling. Toyota tough.
Toyota tough no more. Some 90% of the 70 Series sales are V8s, according to Toyota itself. Toyota's Australian sales boss, Sean Hanley, said, quote, "Clearly there is still a preference for V8s. We can't hide from that. That's the reality." So why are they dumping such a wildly popular product? Well, quote unquote, community expectations, apparently. Mr. Hanley said, "Environment is on people's minds. We believe the community expects that we will reduce our CO2 footprint," he said. There's currently a 2-year waiting list for these V8s. Some of those orders may now not be met, thanks to the decision to discontinue the engine. It shouldn't really be up to the manufacturer or the government or anyone else to decide if or how our carbon dioxide footprint is reduced. The fact that 90% of sales of this vehicle were V8s, I think kind of proves that customers want V8s. What Toyota is saying is that green activists are demanding that we reduce the overall emissions of our fleet, and the easiest way to do that is to get rid of what is an inefficient engine from a pure fuel perspective, even though that engine is strong and built for a particular purpose for which it is renowned. Now, they claim that this decision was made years ago and has nothing to do with the Albanese government's new vehicle emission standards, which will be introduced next year. And they essentially mean that car manufacturers will be fined if the emissions caused by their overall fleet go above a certain limit, which means you can still sell fuel-guzzling cars, but that then has to be offset by cars with much lower emissions, like electric cars, to bring the average down. And Toyota has made it very clear that it doesn't think fully electric cars are the way forward, and they'll only ever make up about 30% of the market. So if they're not willing to go down the electric road, then they need to do something, and the V8 would seem to be the most obvious victim. Now, this is just a sign of things to come. When those emission standards come in, car manufacturers will have to make plenty more decisions like this, unless they want to pay extra, and of course that cost would have to be passed on to you. Some scoffed when emission standards were described as the end of the ute and the end of the off-roader, but it seems pretty clear that that's the way we're going, regardless of how popular these cars might be. They can't get you to change your behaviour, so they're going to force you to change your behaviour.